All right, at this moment, President Zelenskyy of Ukraine is addressing reporters. He's speaking in Ukrainian right now, just outside the White House. He just emerged after spending the entire afternoon meeting with President Trump and six other leaders from Europe. If he switches to English, we're going to switch back and take him. But in the meantime, we'll continue with our coverage. Because as Russian President Vladimir Putin was pursuing his Ukraine policy in what should be now, a familiar Putin style. He's been doing this now for 3 years, talking peace and making war. Overnight, at least 10 people were killed in Russian attacks on major Ukrainian cities. True to form, this latest assault was conducted with an abject disregard for civilian casualties. That has become the Russian military's calling card. In Kharkiv, an entire family, including a toddler and a teenage boy, were killed in Russian drone strikes. Ukraine's Air Force said Russia launched 140 drones and 4 missiles overnight. It was the largest assault on Ukraine since August 4th. Zelenskyy called the attacks, quote, cynical. It comes just days after Trump's Alaska meeting with Putin to discuss an end to the war. However, this war ends, it should never be forgotten that Vladimir Putin has richly earned his status as an accused, indicted war criminal, a status he seems to wear as a badge of honor. Joining us now is NewsNation's Robert Sherman, who's live on the ground in Kyiv. Robert, what are, if anything, because I know it's the middle of the night there, what are Ukrainians saying about Zelenskyy coming to D.C. today, coming to the White House today, his meeting with President Trump? They must be relieved that the meeting went so much better than it did the last time he came to the White House.
Yeah, it's all about the starting point, Elizabeth, but there's a recognition here that there's more work to be done, as people believe here that any stride that's made towards peace is a very good sign here. But there's a huge distinction on the ground, Elizabeth, between getting peace in the short term and sustainability for the long term here. And everybody is talking about these words, security guarantees. I mean, it is, you saw the map that was being shown between President Trump and President Zelenskyy in the Oval Office. People are well aware of that here. The concerns that if Ukrainian troops have to pull back from the Donbass region, that could give Russia an opportunity in order to launch more strikes, just a couple years from now, another invasion here in a longer period of time. That's why these conversations with European leaders so important on the issue of security guarantees. Here were some of the conversation today.
Also all the European colleagues, it is really crucial. And the fact that you have said, I'm willing to participate in the security guarantees is a big step. It's really a breakthrough, and it makes all the difference.
You can be sure that Europeans are very lucid about the fact that they have their fair share in these security guarantees for Ukraine, but their own security is clearly at stake in this situation. So you can count on us as we can count on you.
So seeing diplomacy move forward here is well received, but people also recognize there's more to be done. There were sirens blaring here in Kyiv as those European leaders were arriving at the White House. You saw strikes across the country taking place overnight here. So there's widespread recognition that there's no such thing as a deal until it's signed, sealed, and delivered on any of this here. Elizabeth?
Right, and Putin has shown a history of then breaking the deal, so even that doesn't mean it's the end of everything. Robert Sherman reporting live in Kyiv, Ukraine. All right, moments ago, President Zelenskyy of Ukraine was speaking in English very briefly outside the White House while talking to Ukrainian journalists. Take a listen.
Yes.
No, we don't have any date. We don't have any date. We just confirmed after this productive meeting with the President and then with all our colleagues, with partners, we confirmed that we are ready for a trilateral meeting. And if Russia proposed to President of the United States bilateral, and then we will see the result of bilateral, and then it can be the trilateral. So I said always, so Ukraine will never stop on the way to peace, and we are ready for any kind of formats, but on the level of leaders. Thank you so much. Дякую. Ви ж з Лондону. Про вас дуже просили.
Пане президенте, дуже дякую. Я хотів спитати.
All right, that was Ukrainian President Zelenskyy just speaking to reporters briefly outside the White House after emerging, after spending the entire afternoon inside the Oval Office and inside a room meeting with both President Trump and the leaders of 7 European countries, saying no deal yet. That and as he's been saying for months, that he is ready to sit down for a trilateral meeting. Interesting, he focused on the trilateral meeting between himself, Putin, and President Trump. I think he recognizes what I was just asking Ambassador John Bolton, which is the likelihood of just Zelenskyy and Putin getting into a room together with no one to mediate between the two of them, and the massive differences between the two of them is going to be a tough and high hurdle to cross.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.